very much, everyone. Well, I have just a short amount of time to speak to you, so I'm going to get going here. I'm going to talk about engagement in digital health interventions for prevention. So just overall, I think there are a lot of challenges that we face in behavior change. I'm a critic of public health, the field that I'm in. I think a lot of our programs are hard to do. They are not really that engaging. In some cases, they're actually kind of boring when you compare them to what's done in the commercial sector. A lot of our programs also have relatively small effect sizes. So we need to reach scale. We need to have population effects by reaching scale. A lot of times we have problems with implementation failures. Another problem we have is not reaching our audiences with sufficient dosage. Our interventions are often complex. They require a lot of effort. You have to put a lot of effort into them. You pay a high price, in other words. And there's an inadequate connection between the intervention, the program, the campaign, whatever term we're using, and the participants. It leads to low engagement. I think increasing engagement in social marketing programs and behavior change interventions is really the key. We need to make them easy and rewarding to increase program effects. How about we can advance the slide here? There we go. So what am I talking about when I say engagement? People throw that word around. What is engagement? Well, it's the idea of connectivity. One idea is connectivity between the program and the participant. And in order to maximize engagement, we need to have multiple points of contact between the program and the participant, multiple ways that you can connect. So to build interest, to build realism, identification with the program, to increase brand equity. And so I think engagement is really the key, one of the keys anyway, to behavior change interventions. And I think it's often neglected in the field that I work primarily in, public health. They don't neglect it in the commercial sector, that's for sure. They have awards for commercial digital engagement. So this is just, you know, the best of the best award through Forbes. They pay a lot of attention to brands that are highly successful in engaging participants. Why was Coca-Cola the 2012 social media brand of the year? I always find that to be striking. They figured out some incredibly innovative ways of engaging participants in using social media for a product that seems unconnected to social media. So I think there's an instructive lesson there and from the commercial sector in general, as usual. I'm going to talk to you very briefly about a program that I've been one of the PIs on. It's called Adelante. Moving forward, progress in Spanish. This was part of an NIH grant that recently completed a center grant from the Institute on Minority Health and Disparities. It's a community-based program that was addressing a collection of lifestyle factors, and not just one topic, but prevention and control of substance use, violence through gang activity, sexual risk behaviors. Adelante employed a branding approach that we developed to build program identity. It offered multiple ways of connecting with the program, and our purpose overall was to create a brand using social media in particular to reduce Latino risks for these various behaviors. This is just an example. This is the logo from Adelante. We did two things to develop this logo. I didn't create this. I wouldn't know what the right brand logo for a group of Latino adolescents would be. Of course not. We did in-person focus groups and other formative research with youth. A bunch of finalist concepts were developed. They developed the concepts. And then we had a social media contest where members of the community were able to log in and vote for their preferences. And then this was the winner, and we had a graphic artist turn it into the logo that you see here, which is basically this idea of turning the corner. You can turn your life around, basically turn the corner and be a successful person. So we took this idea of Adelante and turning the corner, and we developed a whole suite of brand representations using social media and communications. One thing that we did, we had a very active social media activity, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We also created an educational entertainment intervention, a web novella called Victor and Erica. If you want to Google Victor and Erica Adelante, you'll find a very interesting YouTube page, which we use to disseminate the program throughout the community. And this is just another graphic representation of the program. This guy is kind of a big deal. It also illustrates how our youth were not all the goody two-shoes youth that you often get into programs. This kid actually ended up getting into trouble after we had him as one of the faces of our program. So in a way, that was actually good from our point of view, because he sort of represented what the program was all about. You might get into trouble, maybe you get connected to a gang, maybe you're using drugs, but through Adelante, you can turn your life around, you can turn the corner. So in a way, we were actually kind of happy that it worked out that way. He eventually got out of trouble. It's kind of a theme of the program. But it's about positive youth development. Those were our outcomes. And we were using digital strategies throughout. What we were doing in particular was we were training youth to be social media advocates online and to use this Victor and Erica content in order to promote the program to their peers. So these were some themes that we used to try to promote the program to youth. What is Adelante all about? What is this program? What is the concept behind it? The idea that you can live your dream, that Adelante is about making good choices. You're not always going to make good choices, but we're going to try to help you make good choices. It's about being part of something bigger, a movement. And this Victor and Erica program was disseminated through YouTube. Just another, this is actually a scene from the web novella series. We took the social media data that we collected over a period of about 3 years during this program, and we did an evaluation of it. We were interested to see how engaged our participants were in the program and what immediate effects it might be having. So we developed a coding scheme. We had over 1,000 total posts on the program and on the social media, and we did two things. First, we had our interns do a kind of high-level coding. So just what was in the post, what kind of language was being used. A lot of it was bilingual. What was the purpose of it? Was it positive, negative? Did it include any of our campaign themes? And then our investigator team, the research team, took the results of that, and then we did a deeper dive into the social media to look at things like, did it actually contain some of these positive youth development constructs? Who was being portrayed? What kind of communication strategy was being used? So we did kind of a broad look at the social media and then deep dive. And then we took a look at it analytically, and we're still working on this. There is a paper that's out for review right now that hopefully will get published soon. But our question basically was, to what extent is engagement in the social media associated with outcomes that we cared about? So engagement, by our measure, was there were over 247,000 people reached by the posts. If you added up all the ways that people could be engaged, like likes, clicks, shares, et cetera, there were over 44,000 engagement measures by that count. And then we developed a number of scales, basically measures, and one of them was called post engagement rate, basically how much engagement divided by the total reach of the post. And what we found was that this measure was associated with some of the program outcomes that we cared about. Basically, people were much more likely to be engaged with posts that were about the positive youth development measure of competence and contribution. We found a statistically significant relationship between those. So we think that what that means is that they're more interested in the posts that are about the outcomes that we are trying to promote through the program. We're then going to try to relate that to actual effects of the program in a subsequent analysis that we're working on. And my 8 minutes is up. Thank you very much.